This video is shot at 4K 60 FPS, edited in 4K 60 FPS, rendered in 4K 60 FPS, and uploaded in 4K 60 FPS. All this has been done in this 4-year-old MacBook Air M1. I mean, even the thumbnail is edited in the latest Photoshop 2024 in this MacBook Air M1. I've been using this device from past 3 years. In this video, I'll tell you should you get a MacBook Air M1 now. Since this is right now coming in a price range of 50k and in the same price you're getting the latest Mac Mini M4. Let's start from the build. This device is actually very well built. It's a full metal body device and I don't think a 4-year Mac should have been built this well. Since it's all metal, I was worried if there would be scratches, so I've been using a skin which has been on this from the day I purchased. But if you see, it's a 4-year-old machine, but it looks actually very new. There is absolutely zero flex anywhere, even on the keyboard here, and even the screen does not wobble. The hinge is so solid that in this price range, if you go with any Windows laptop, you will have a significant wobble. This came with the Apple's old scissor keyboard. I don't know how many people know this, but once they shifted from this to the butterfly keyboard, that's when the keyboard started getting a lot of trouble. And thankfully, this one has the old scissor keyboard and this works perfectly well. This is actually a backlit keyboard, and when you're typing on this, it feels very comfortable. Next thing which I like about this is this big trackpad. Many people still think that this trackpad can actually be pressed, but actually this cannot. This is actually one solid piece of metal which does not even bend inside, but once you give a little bit of pressure here, you'll get a vibration feedback which makes you feel that you are actually pressing this into. I mean, this vibration feedback is so good that you'll feel like you actually press this inside, but you have not. And if you want to know how good this feels, normally when I'm editing in a Windows laptop, I never use a trackpad because that is very worse. I normally use a mouse. But this one actually feels very comfortable when you're editing in a trackpad. So when I'm going to events, say if I'm on a flight and I want to edit something, I don't want a mouse. I am happy with this. I mean, the subtle vibrations, the accuracy, how good it actually tracks your hands, it is so good. One thing you have to note here is, since this is an all metal build, when you have connected it to a power source, sometimes if you touch like this, you'll feel a slight kind of a vibration thing. It's not a vibration, it's not an electric shock, but you'll feel a kind of a how do you say that? Say if you have a grinder or something which is running and it is on a table and you touch that table, you'll get a kind of a thing, right? Similar thing you can also feel, but that is normal. The only thing which makes this look outdated is this display. Just don't get me wrong, if I say outdated, it doesn't mean this display isn't good. This display is actually very good. Only thing is this has a thick bezels all around it. Comparing to the recent ones which has a thinner bezel and a notch, this comes with a notchless design. And me personally, I like the old notchless design. I mean, it looks so good, right? All sides are rectangular, and especially when you're editing, you don't want a distraction on top. This display is actually super bright. You can see it has, I think, 20 levels of brightness, I guess. It is so bright, it is so crisp. It's a wide P3 color gamut and you can set whatever color profile you want. So it is very good for editing. It's very calibrated and and if you look closely, this is actually very crisp display. This display has auto brightness. It has the Apple's True Tone. Only thing is this display is not OLED, but don't get me wrong. I have been using the Asus stuff before and I know when compared to that, this display is way ahead of the league. A little bit of problem which I have with this display is that if I reduce the brightness altogether, you can see that this is a very reflective display. It's kind of like a smartphone display. It does not have any kind of a coat. It has a slight kind of anti-reflective coating, but that's not that great. So you have to actually increase the brightness a little bit more if you are using this, and this display is prone to smudges. Normally when you close and open, this hand just goes here, right? So here is a webcam and you tend to just smudge the webcam. But just think of this, I've been using this device from past 3 years and whatever videos I have been editing, whatever thumbnails I've been editing, I've been doing this all in this laptop without an external display. It's a 13.3 inch, it's kind of a small display, but if you see, it's very thin display, it's very thin. I mean, you understand the point, right? That I've been running a YouTube channel from past 5 years, and if I can use this small machine to edit all my 4K videos and run a YouTube channel, this is actually a very good editing machine. This is one of the last laptops which had this wedge design. This wedge design actually makes this even thinner than you expect, but this is not a very light laptop. You can actually feel a little bit of weight. It has density, it has that premium finish, but this actually fits very easily into any of your bags. So it's slim but sleek. And now I talked about this webcam, right? One thing I don't like is the webcam. This webcam is a 720p webcam, and whenever I do Google Meets on this, The camera, it just looks so horrible. I mean, if you don't have an adequate lighting, it looks all cloudy, all muddy, not at all crisp. But on the other hand, the microphones are very good, way good. It's a 3-array microphone. Say you are in a Google Meet without turning on the camera, your sound is so damn good. The moment you turn on the camera, they're like, your voice is fine, but what am I looking at? It's so horrible. And the next thing which I don't like about this laptop is these two ports. This has two Thunderbolt 4 ports and only two Thunderbolt 4 ports. Now say you plug in your charger in this, you have to plug in your dongle in this. I have a dongle and the dongle is not cheap, okay? I have a Belkin dongle. It is around 4K. I'll leave a link in the description. It's around 4 to 5K. It has all the necessary ports. I mean, there is not even an SD card slot here. I really miss that. So wherever I go, whatever I want to do, I have to keep that dongle myself. And again, I plug the dongle here, I plug the charger here, done. I don't have any other ports. I have only one port here, which is the 3.5mm microphone plus audio jack. This supports Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5 version. And again, talking about the updates, this is running on the latest macOS Sequoia update. So you will get, it's a 4-year device, but you still get the latest updates. I don't know how much years they'll support it, but I think mostly around 7 years you might be getting. And even this is an 8GB RAM and a 512GB variant. Since it has an 8GB RAM, when it is running in an M1 chip, this supports Apple Intelligence. You have to switch the language to US, then you will get the Apple Intelligence features as well. Okay, now I talked about the M1 chipset. Since this is running in an M1 chipset, how good it is in 2024 or say 2025? In one word, I'll say this is still worthy. This is absolutely worthy. Say you compare the laptop which you get in the 60K price range, normally you get the i3 chipsets, right? If you compare the performance of the i3 chipsets with this one does not have a fan. This is a total fanless device. Without a fan, you can edit a whole video in this, render a whole video in this, edit a whole thumbnail in this, and without plugging it in. You can do all this in battery. I mean, come on, I've never turned this thing off. I just use it, close it. Again, open it, use it, close it. That's it. I don't turn this off. You don't have to turn this off. You can just use it like a smartphone. And when you compare it with i5, this one has a smaller nanometer chipset, which makes it very efficient. This has a 50 watt battery. And this battery, I don't know how they managed to do this without a fan. Okay, without a fan giving this performance in this incredible battery life. Whoever you can ask one thing which you like about this device, everyone would say the battery life. I'll tell you an example of what I do. Okay, normally I'm shooting this video, right? Once I shoot this video, say this is plugged in and this is in 100% charge. I just plug it out of the charge, I copy my files, then I start editing. I start editing in 4K 60 FPS in Final Cut Pro. I have the latest Final Cut Pro 11. Now, once I finish the editing, I render it in 4K 60 FPS. For a 10-minute video, it takes around 5 to 10 minutes to render in 4K 60 FPS. I do the rendering and then I open Safari, upload it to my YouTube channel, and then meanwhile, parallelly, what I'll do is I'll open Photoshop and I'll start creating my thumbnail. Okay. And I create the thumbnail, I upload the thumbnail, then I publish the video, I wait for some time, I look at the analytics, I do the research and things and all, and then what else, I do my Excel stuffs and all, I write the scripts. These are the apps that are there in my device. You can see Premiere is there, Photoshop 2024 is there, Microsoft Teams is there, Final Cut Pro, you have iPhone mirror, you can mirror iPhone here, a VLC player, I watch movies, I watch YouTube, whatever things you have to do, you do all this, okay? And then still you will be left with around 70 to 80% battery. I don't know how they do this. I charge this, I think, once in 2 days. That's all I want. I mean, if this is all I'm doing. If I'm using it continuously, say I can get up to 16 to 18 hours battery easily. It comes with a 30 watt charger in box. Now 30 watt charger is fine. You can charge this fully in around 2 to 2.5 hours, but you don't have to worry. Whenever the charge is low, I just plug it in. I just keep using it. And once I finish my editing and stuff and all, it's 100%. So it's not like I just keep it for charge dedicatedly. But again, right now I'm using the CMF charger, the GAN charger, the 65 watt charger. This supports up to 50 watt of fast charging. So with that CMF charger, I am getting it charged for less than 2 hours. Now, one more thing which I want to show you is, this is an 8GB RAM, okay? It's an 8GB RAM variant and I regretted that, okay, fine. I just took an 8GB RAM. The moment I open FCB and then I open Photoshop and I open Chrome, done. My 8GB is full. What should I do? But thankfully, This one has an NVMe storage and this has a 512 GB storage. Okay, right now I have around, I don't know if it's visible, 100 GB, 105.3 GB. Now I am going to open Adobe Photoshop. Okay, I have opened the Adobe Photoshop, and if you see what is the memory right now, here is 104.1, which means literally since my RAM is full, this is using my storage as virtual RAM, and it's not like the gimmick virtual RAMs which you see in smartphones these days. This actually uses your storage as RAM and it works flawlessly. So here if you see, you can see a swap. So 576 MB of RAM this is using as a swap. Now when you're doing all this stuff, does this laptop heat? Again, I don't know how Apple did this. This thing does not heat. If you are editing a 4K video and rendering it, this side or this side, you might feel a slight little warmth. Okay, it's like you have to actually feel it. I mean, you have to keep your hand and look. Okay, you have to think like I have to feel the warmth. Apart from that, there is absolutely no heating at all. You just use it normally, you will not find any heating issues. Secondly, the incredible speakers. If you see on the left and right, you have stereo speakers. None of the Windows laptops gives such good stereo speakers. I generally don't even use earphones when editing videos because this is more than enough. It's loud, it's crisp, it has a bass. But I don't know how they managed in this small form factor. It has a bass, you can feel a bass, little bit of bass. Now coming to the golden question. Right now, for this price, you can get the latest Mac Mini M4. So this is an M1 chipset, it's a 4-year-old device. M4 is way powerful than this. Should I get the M4 or should I get this? Two things you have to think. Okay, one, the purpose. Say you already are using a PC. Okay, you already have a PC, you have a screen, I mean you have a monitor, you have a keyboard, you have a mouse, you have speakers, every stuff, it's just the CPU. Then you can go with the Mac Mini M4. No doubt, it's the best device. It's a best value for money device. But if you're purchasing an Apple device for the first time, Mac Mini M4 is not 60K. You have to invest in that, then you have to invest in this monitor, keyboard, mouse, speakers, dongles, everything, and you need to have power. It's not portable. If you compare that with this, for the same price, you are getting an additional screen, keyboard, trackpad, and even battery backup. So if you're someone like me, like how I told, how do I use this laptop? Only for productivity and creative works. If that is you, definitely, even now, this is worth the money. I got this 3 years back for around 1 lakh. Right now, you're getting this around 50 to 60K, which is incredible value for money. And value for money is not something which we generally speak when it comes to Apple. Only one thing you have to note, one recommendation from my side from this experience is get a 16 GB RAM if you can, and then a storage of 512 GB minimum. Okay, you don't have to go with 1 TB, 2 TB and all. You can get an SSD and plug it in, but 256 GB, please keep it out. 256 GB is not worth it. The OS itself will take around 100 to 125 GB, and the rest what you get, you install the applications and go and boom. You'll not have space for anything. Get a 512 GB if you are getting it. So this concludes the review of my MacBook Air M1. If you have any other doubts, just comment them below. I'll reply to it. And if you're new to this channel, if you like the content which I'm posting, definitely do subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.